So he neglected to mention to you that there'd be 2 or 3 feet of this snow piled up for weeks on end.
Welcome to the Exploring Washington State podcast. Here's your host, Scott Cowan.
All right, welcome back to this episode of the Exploring Washington State podcast. My guest today is Charmaine with Lemon Thyme Macarons. Did I say it right today, please?
Yes.
Hey, Charmaine, please introduce yourself. And your company's based out of Roslyn, Washington, the booming, thriving tourist destination of Roslyn, Washington. How did you end up there? Let's start with that.
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Miami, Florida. My parents moved to the United States just before the Gulf War. They were living in Kuwait. And so we grew up in Miami. It's a very different from Washington. So
just a little.
So how I ended up in Roslyn is obviously my husband is from here, so he's the true Roslyn mountain man who has a big beard and loves chopping wood and fires. But so I guess to start, so I grew up in Miami, and I grew up in a very religious home. So So when you're in a religious community, there's something called Bible college. So you go to Bible college because they tell you that public college is bad. Why would you go there? So you go to Bible college. So I went to Bible college in the Bay Area in Santa Clara, California. And so in our little religious community, you think it's so big, but it is actually really small compared to the United States. So I met my husband through Bible college.
Okay.
We were friends for a while. And then, and it's so funny because when we were dating, I said, I'm not moving to Roslyn, like if we're not married. Just because I didn't know anybody. I actually didn't really know what to expect of Washington State. The only thing I knew about Washington was Seattle and Tacoma, and I didn't like either of those. So Roslyn is a very different kind of vibe from what I have seen just visiting Washington like one time before I met my husband. And so we actually got married in City Hall in San Francisco. And he's like, I want to move back to my hometown, Roslyn, Washington. And he was saying he grew up there. He has like 5 generations of family in Roslyn. And he just loves it. And so I was like, okay, well, this is it. I'm moving to Roslyn from the city. And I was telling my husband, okay, so like how many people are in Roslyn? And at the time he's like, oh, there's only like 800 people. I'm like, 800 people? And so it was like a very culture shock for me, especially because Roslyn is smack in the middle of Washington. So everything is very far. So if you want to go to Costco, you have to drive an hour probably to Issaquah, or an hour to Yakima, or like an hour and a half to Wenatchee. So we're just kind of like smack in the middle. And so there was a lot of things that really just shocked me living there. It's not that I didn't like it. And I think at the time when I moved to Roslyn, I didn't love it just because it was really difficult for me to adjust, especially the weather. I don't know if anyone's been to Roslyn, but it snows a lot just because we have higher elevation than a lot of the cities. And so that was really shocking because I did not know anything about snow. I didn't know you had to buy snow boots. I thought you had to buy like a Michael Kors winter jacket and that will keep you warm. And so a lot of the stuff my husband had to buy me, like hiking boots and stuff, because I was very like unsure how to live in Roslyn.
So he neglected to mention to you that there'd be 2 or 3 feet of this snow piled up for weeks on end.
Yeah, basically.
Just left that out?
I know, and it's just really crazy. So every time my family's from California and from Miami, I tell them, I'm like, don't come in the winter. It's so cold here. I don't wish anybody to come here. But it is beautiful, I would say. And I love Roslyn. Everyone here is so kind and so nice, and especially like community oriented, which I find so I'm just so impressed that everyone is who lives here is very helpful to each other.
Okay. So how long have you been living in Roslyn?
So we've lived in Roslyn, and the whole point of moving to Roslyn is because my husband is a wildland firefighter. So he needed to go back, do a seasonal job and stuff, and we bought a house here. So we lived here for about 6 years.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a little different, isn't it? From even the Bay Area, it's just very different. And you know, when we talked on the phone, and you said, "Oh, I'm from Miami," and I was just like, I'm like, that's not a common thing to go. I'm from Miami and I'm living in Roslyn, Washington. Yeah, interesting story. But you met him in California. All right. So you've acclimated. Your Michael Kors jacket has been retired. You're not wearing that during winter because you need one of those, North Face or Mountain Hardwear or REI or something. Yep. Maybe 2 of them at times. It gets chilly. Boots.
Yeah.
So you went to college. What did you think your plan would be after college had you not met your husband? What was kind of the roadmap going to look like for you?
So after school, I graduated with my music ed degree. And then after that, I was just, also teaching preschool, and I wasn't really sure. I knew I wanted to live in California. I knew I didn't want to live in Miami. And I know, my sister was living in California too. So we were together, and, we only lived 10 minutes away from each other. And I really enjoyed the Bay Area. I do enjoy Miami. I just don't want to live there.
Sure.
Yeah. I like if anybody is from Miami, they know that Miami has a different culture, it has a different vibe. It's very Latin American, Caribbean, just like this melting pot of South American countries. And I just didn't want to live there, and I think just because like I just enjoyed California, I enjoyed going to the mountains, or I just enjoyed so much of that. And I'm trying to think. I'm sorry. So sorry. What was the question again? Oh, my goodness.
What you were going to do prior to meeting?
Yes.
What was the roadmap?
Yes, the roadmap was just going to be like I was just going to teach, and I was just going to teach and just go on and enjoy my 20s.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you moved to Roslyn. When did the inspiration for Lemon Thyme hit you?
So when I was in my early 20s, I always just loved the fact of a macaron. I don't know why. They were just so pretty. When I moved to Roslyn, I was extremely depressed because, one, I didn't know that you can get depressed when it's winter because there's like not as much sun, and I'm a sun person. Two, there, for some reason, in Kittitas County, there's not many jobs, and I was struggling to find because I moved here for my husband, and I love my husband so much. And that was the big thing. Like, I wanted to teach, I wanted to keep going, but I couldn't because I would get rejection letters, and then like I couldn't teach, and that's what I wanted to do, but no one wanted to hire me. So I think the first year we moved here, I was really depressed because my husband was always gone, going out on fires. If anybody knows what a wildland firefighter does, they just randomly leave in the summer. And for like 2 weeks, sometimes they're in the middle of the forest. They don't talk to you. That's it. So it was a very lonely experience. And so what inspired me was like, okay, first year, super depressed. Like, I hate it here. But second year, I'm like, okay, you know what? If I can't teach, which I love doing, I'm going to do something else that I love. And that's baking. And that's kind of how it started, because I kind of just was like, pull yourself together. you're staying here. We bought a house. The next year my husband just leaves randomly. I'm gonna like pour my heart and soul into what I'm passionate about. So that's pretty much how it started.
Why did you settle on macarons?
I
mean, you said they were pretty, but
I think.
And they are, by the way, just.
One spring I was so determined to like get the macarons like to how I wanted them, and I had so many broken ones, and I would be practicing in the spring, and I think it was like more of like the challenge of like, oh, this is such a time consuming, hard cookie to make, like, and the fact that you overcome that, and people tell you how hard and time consuming it is and expensive, because it is made out of almond flour, was kind of like the challenge. Like, it's not only pretty, even though it's very time consuming to make, you can make them. So I think it was more of like the challenge that I liked. So yeah.
When did you decide, how did you bring them to market? Did you start at the farmer's market, or did the food truck come, the food trailer? What came first?
So yeah, in Roslyn, we do have a Roslyn farmers market, which a ton of tourists come to. It's an amazing market. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to start my business in the farmer's market in the middle of July. So I had no idea how to even do that. So my business neighbor now, she has a soap shop. And she's like, well, the first things you do is just get a business license and a food license and just put your table out there, and it doesn't have to look perfect. You just need to get your product out there. And that's pretty much what I did. And I kind of just followed her advice. And I always tell her, like, you're the one that helped me. Even though it's such simple words, she really did help me, because I had no idea how to start a business at all.
Well, it's super easy. Everything goes perfectly. There's no problems. There's never any challenges. State of Washington walks you through. They hold your hand. They tell you need this.
Of course they do.
Yeah. Said no business owner ever. What was it like at the farmer's market at first?
It was fun. It was so funny because actually, prior to the farmers market, I did have one event that I did, and it was like a market basically, and the booth was $50, and for 4 hours I only made $50 back. So that was my first market ever, and that wasn't at the farmers market, but it was like nearby, and I was like, should I even be doing this? But the farmers market was pretty fun. Looking back, I just remember how awesome it was to make like $300. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I made such big bank. Like, I made $300 in 4 hours. I was like, this is so exciting. And then now that like I look at my sales now, I'm like, man, I just remember I got so excited over $300. And so yeah, it was really awesome. A lot of locals would come by, and they have watched me start from now to where I am today, which is so enjoyable, and so I'm proud of that.
Well, let me ask you this: so the farmers market, you made $300, as you said.
Yeah.
Made big bank.
Yeah.
$300, and it was in 4 hours, right?
Yes.
Okay. How many hours of prep and baking time to make those products?
So when we first started making it, I had a cottage food license, and if anyone doesn't know what that is where you can bake from home.
Mm-hmm.
But when you bake from home, it is very, when you present your product, you have to wrap each and every one of the macarons too. So you have to bake the macarons, or no, you have to pipe them, and then you have to dry them. They need to form a skin, and then you need to bake them. And then it's not like my oven is like this commercial oven, so I could only put maybe 1 to 2 trays at a time. And so it's a lot of work, and I don't remember exactly how long it would take me, but I think, we would only pull out probably whatever I can do, which was probably like 1 to 200 macarons each market, just because they're so time consuming and you need a lot of pans, and I didn't have the equipment that I needed or that I have now today,
Right,
because we
right.
bake out of a commercial kitchen now, thank God.
And so is the commercial kitchen? Gosh, cannot talk. Is the kitchen in Roslyn?
No, actually. So I rent a commercial kitchen from a coffee company in Cleveland. She lets me rent it, and she's been letting me do this for probably about 2 or 3 years. And so I rent in there. They have a huge convection oven, which I love. They have the baking stand pans to like cool your baked goods and stuff, and a huge KitchenAid mixer, or commercial mixer. So it's just been very nice and like a step up to like make more.
What coffee company in Clallam is allowing you?
Her name, the coffee company is Cleveland Coffee and Eats. It's actually right next to a Tesla station. So whoever owns a Tesla, they'll see, and they could get coffee, or in the middle of the night, they have like a code where they can go to the bathroom and stuff. Like if they're not there for like open hours and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
It's pretty awesome.
I think it's funny that there's a Tesla station in Clallam.
Yeah, but it makes sense though.
No, it does. It does. But the first time I saw a Tesla station was in Aberdeen. Have you been to Aberdeen?
No, I haven't actually.
Okay. Well,
Aberdeen actually I have. And that is a very random place to have a Tesla.
Yeah, I was driving through Aberdeen, and here's these Tesla charging stations, and I just kind of went, what? And I took a picture of it just because it seemed weird to me. And then I see this one in Cleveland, and I'm like, huh. But then it does make sense, because if you're on your way to or from Seattle and you forgot to charge, or whatever, you're coming from Spokane and you need to top off to go over the hill, or vice versa, it does make sense. But anyway, I just thought it was odd.
Yeah.
So you've got the commercial kitchen set up. That's cool, because you're right. I couldn't imagine using your home oven. And two trays at a time tops, and then okay. This food, do you want to call it a truck? You want to call it a trailer? What do we want to call it?
You know what? I just call it a coffee bakery trailer.
Okay,
that's all I call it. It doesn't really matter what you call it.
Yeah. When did you open that?
So we just opened that.
Okay.
In August of 2021.
Okay.
I think because Roslyn is a very historic town, and anybody who visits probably knows that. And so because it's a historic town, a lot of the buildings are really old. So it's really hard to just have a storefront, or especially like a storefront with food or a kitchen, because since the buildings are so old, they sometimes the previous owners haven't updated it, so they're kind of like falling apart, unfortunately. And so that's kind of why I have the trailer, something like of my own, something like of a storefront.
A lot easier to do that than to retrofit an old brick building from the 1800s.
Yeah, then you have to invest a lot of money in.
Right. Did you build the trailer, or was this, because when I look at the photographs of it, I like the way it's set up. So like, was that custom made for you, or how'd the trailer come about?
So the trailer, I did extensive research on Instagram, because I am just like an Instagram queen, and I found my contractor through a hashtag. that said coffee trailer. And I messaged him, and he makes, he's from Vancouver, Washington. His name is Russ, and he's extremely wonderful to work with. And I'm actually getting our trailer updated by him next week, because he's going to install an air conditioner unit in there.
Okay.
But I found him through a hashtag. He does custom coffee trailers, or just custom trailers in general, specifically coffee trailers. And he basically took me through the whole process. And I just told him what I wanted. And I told him that at first we had this vintage trailer, but then it fell apart. So I invested some in that. And then he was like, why don't we go to the regular trailer route? And I told him, I'm like, I just don't want it to look like a regular trailer in the front. So I asked him if he could just put wood on it. So basically I just told him what I wanted. And then, he obviously put a lot of input into it, and he really executed it well, and it works amazing. So
You've got a display cabinet, below
we do.
the. So how do you travel? I mean, does that have something that covers over it when you're moving it from point A to point B?
It's really nice because he custom built that specifically, which is awesome. In terms of, you mean like how do we travel with it?
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna, let's say you're gonna take it from Roslyn and go to Wenatchee, you're gonna bring it here to Wenatchee because that display case there, that glass and all that, you wouldn't want that exposed, I don't think, while you're driving down the road. So is there something that comes over, or is it?
It's just like that. It just, I guess, but like we take out, because so the display case, we put baking trays in, so we take those out, and so we don't usually cover it, but also we don't really move the trailer either.
Sure. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Well, when we talked on the phone, and this gets into my wheelhouse. We were talking coffee because I talk coffee with everybody that can talk coffee. You're doing coffee a little differently than what we see typically here, especially in Roslyn, but in Washington State. Miami influence.
Yeah.
What? Okay.
So we serve Cuban coffee, which growing up in Miami, you go to the window and you order yourself a Cuban coffee. So Cuban coffee essentially is just sugar and coffee, and it's the way it's made. So for example, when the first couple drops of espresso touch the white sugar, you mix it into a paste very vigorously. And then after it becomes this light colored paste, then you add the rest of your espresso. And that's how.
So how do you stop pulling the shot at that point? I mean, so you've got a couple of drops in and you're mixing it up. How do you stop the shot?
For example, for what I do, I just get a little bit from the beginning of the shot. And then there's another 2-ounce shot in the bottom.
Okay.
And so we kind of just like wait till the rest of the shot comes in, and then we mix it all together. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. And people love it, which I was actually really shocked, because I was like, no one from Washington's gonna like sweet coffee. They all like, non-sweet coffee, but surprisingly a lot of people are so intrigued, and they do really like it. And they're like, what do you put in it? And I'm like, just white sugar. That's all it is.
So I'm reading here, you've got, Cuban coffee is sweetened espresso, but then you also have, is it a colada?
Yeah. So there are 4 types of Cuban coffee. They all have the same base, which is espresso and sugar. The first one is like cafecito, which is basically an espresso just sweetened. The second one is a cortadito. A cortadito is basically like a short latte. So you have espresso and just a little bit of milk. And that's one of my favorites when I go back home. I always order a cortadito. The third one is a café con leche. Same base, just milk. It's like a latte, but Cuban style. The last one is basically the culture of Miami, a colada. So not colada, but colada.
Colada. Okay.
Yeah, colada is so it's like a cafecito. It's very powerful. It comes in a small foam cup, and it just has espresso and sugar. And so we serve it in this small little cup, and people are like, "Oh my god, it's just like this small little cup. I can drink it myself." But it's very strong and sweet. So what we do is we serve this little cup, and then we have tiny plastic little shot cups, very tiny. And so colada is like a social coffee. So let's say you go to the office and you're like, hey, who wants like a pick me up? Who wants and so you get this little styrofoam cup, you pour it into the little shots, and you drink it like a shot. And it is
I'm
so
gonna
good.
just try one by myself.
You do, and you would just love it.
I'm not gonna be social and share. I'm just gonna 6 ounces. I got this.
Yeah, and then if you go to Miami and you order that, they will look at you very weird because they'd be like, "This is not your regular coffee." But people do drink colada by themselves. But if they see someone and they don't really know, they are aware that person doesn't know what they're getting into, because they give you extra little shot cups for that. But it's a very strong coffee, and I could probably drink like four little shot cups of it, and it's just like the culture, it's what Miami is about, which is like coffee and socializing. So
you're getting your coffee from Cloud City Coffee.
Yes, and we love it so much.
Why did you pick Cloud City?
So we picked Cloud City. So not a lot of people know what Cuban coffee is. So I wanted to pick somebody that knew kind of our vision. And also, personally, I'm not a coffee connoisseur at all. I just like Cuban coffee and sweet coffee. But I wanted to pair something, like, I definitely didn't want to pair Cuban coffee with like almost like maybe like a fruity coffee type note. Like they had like of a medium roast with because we usually use their medium roast, which I love, and it has like notes of like chocolate and graham cracker and marshmallow. And so she sent me some coffee for me to try, and I just really loved it, and I loved how it was so mellow, and it was I don't know, I just really loved the taste. And she roasts it for us every week, and she's very knowledgeable, so I'll ask her random questions. Like the other day I asked her, I said, well, I went to this coffee shop and their coffee like left like this like sour taste in my mouth, and why is that, or how what causes that? And she just explained to me, because I'm a baker, I'm not I try to educate, but if we're gonna have a good product on our trailer, we need to have we need to make the coffee right. So she was saying like they're probably under extracting it, maybe it's a lighter roast. So yeah, I really enjoy working with them.
We'll keep geeking out on coffee here for a second. So
yeah,
for Cuban coffee, how long of a shot are you pulling typically?
It's about the same.
Is it about the same?
Yeah, it's about the same.
Okay.
So it's not like, I guess more of it when the way it's made is like mixing the sugar, basically. And I feel bad. I'm sorry.
Is this just straight normal sugar, or is it a?
Yeah, it's just sugar. Okay. It's not organic sugar because you.
No,
have
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Is there a Cuban sugar that goes with this? Okay, I don't know.
No, of course you don't know. But it's funny because it's not like we use organic sugar, because it won't dissolve well if you just use like organic brown sugar. You need to use white sugar. So yeah, and it's funny because if you ever visit Miami, you'll see like they have a huge bowl of just white sugar,
just table sugar, if you will. Right?
Yeah,
just
CNH, table sugar.
CNH, yeah, just okay.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You also doing matcha and tea?
Yes.
Black sesame honey matcha.
Oh my god, that's actually one of my favorites. So in Roslyn, they don't do a lot of matcha. No one really does. And sometimes when you go to like in Central Washington specifically, there's not really a lot of matcha places. And you know, besides we have some Starbucks, but they use pre-sweetened matcha, and I don't like pre-sweetened stuff. I'd rather add to the sweetness than take away. And so our matcha, we usually we buy it from Tenzo. They're pretty good, and they're really good at customer service. If anyone wants to buy matcha from them, they're awesome. And so the black sesame matcha is basically just a matcha shot. So a matcha shot would just be like some matcha and 2 ounces of hot water, some milk, and then we actually put matcha, black sesame paste in there. So it has this taste of like this roasted sesame, and it's one of my favorite drinks. I always say everything's my favorite drink, but this is one of my favorite drinks. So I love it.
Is it Halo Halo or Hollow Hollow?
It's Hollow Hollow. Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Hollow Hollow is amazing. And I grew up, and whoever's Filipino, they know what Hollow Hollow is. So we make Hollow Hollow on our trailer. It is very time consuming to make because Hollow Hollow has a lot of different, it's almost like, so it's not really a drink. It's more like a dessert. Okay. So Hollow Hollow is like a fruit salad in there with like evaporated milk, condensed milk, roasted or toasted rice, almost like Rice Krispies, but it's not Rice Krispies. But basically like Rice Krispies. Hollow Hollow is a staple in the Philippines because I'm Filipino. And so I always tell people the trailer is my childhood. So basically this is why we have Cuban coffee and like Filipino stuff on there, because it's just everything I grew up in a trailer. So Hollow Hollow, a lot of people in the Philippines will drink it. And the original Hollow Hollow involves like shaved ice, evaporated milk, condensed milk. There's something called ube, which is a purple yam. So we make ube halaya, which is a purple yam jam. There's beans in there. There's coconut jelly. So it's like all these wonderful, beautiful textures molded in this one dessert. And it is such a beautiful dessert. I always tell people like we don't make the original one, but we make it our version, but I make sure it tastes like how it tastes like when I was a kid, how my mom would make it. And it's and people will still order it in the winter or in the spring just because we get a lot of Filipino tourists from Seattle, and they just get so shocked that there's this like Filipino trailer in Roslyn serving Hollow Hollow in the summer. And I know it's time consuming to make, but it is so worth it because it's just like this beautiful drink or dessert. And so yeah, you should definitely try it sometime. It's very, for me, it's nostalgic. Because my mom would always make it for me as a kid, and I'm like, so it tastes so good, and whoever hasn't had it should try it.
So you're saying it? Okay, that actually sounds quite interesting. So you're also saying the ube is a purple yam.
Yes, so Filipinos use ube as a dessert, kind of like our sweet potato pie, except ube is like 10 times better. And,
well, I don't like sweet potatoes, so 10 times better than not liking it. You know, I'm still not gonna. That's just me. So I tease, but
it's okay.
My wife loves sweet potatoes. I'm just like,
I don't like sweet potatoes either, like the orange ones.
But so this is a purple root vegetable, right?
Yes, and usually Filipinos will mix it with condensed milk and evaporated milk and sugar. And then they use that as like a filling. They use it as a jam. Or they use it as a flavor for ice cream. There's ube ice cream and it's purple. And the reason why people just are obsessed with this flavor, because ube has this like vanilla nutty flavor, is because the color is just so beautiful and so attractive. So yeah.
Does the local corner grocery store in Cleon carry ubi?
No, they
Does
don't.
the Safeway in Cleon have it? I mean, so where are you sourcing this from?
The ube. So a lot of our stores, like such as like ube jam, I have to go to the west side and buy it. I
Okay.
mean, the people that come on like the food distributor truck, they're not going to know what I'm talking about because it's a
No.
very Asian thing. So I'll go to the west side or order some, or I'll make some. Sometimes I'll make some myself. I don't do that a lot because it's hard to get access to ube because the purple yam is normally grown in tropical places.
Okay.
Usually, I don't really know if you can grow it in Washington State. So yeah, I normally just buy all that stuff at the Filipino grocery store, and I know
Okay.
it's not wholesale, but but I have to have this on my trailer.
Mhm. Okay.
It's like a must. Yeah.
All right. And so this is another watch Scott butcher pronunciation.
It's okay. Don't worry. You're fine.
Calamansi?
Calamansi. Oh my God. So
Did I say it right?
you did. Congratulations.
Okay, so what on earth is calamansi, and why is it in lemonade?
So calamansi is another childhood favorite of mine. You could actually grow it in Washington, I think on the west side,
Okay.
but it's normally grown in tropical places. So calamansi is a mix between a lemon and a lime. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and it's like the lemonade of the Philippines. They look like little, either they look orange, like little tiny oranges, or they're also green as well. And we usually use it as like basically like a lemonade, right? So you
Right.
use it like to for flavor for your food. You use it as a drink. I specifically had calamansi lemonade because I guess again the nostalgic feels of like my childhood, and it is very unique flavor, and it's very good, very very good.
All right. So this is the part of the show where I'm going to poke fun at you.
Okay.
Kind of. These all sound great. First off, they all sound like I'm going to be checking these out. And I have this outdated preconceived notion about Roslyn, Washington from when I went to college in Ellensburg, and we went to Roslyn, and it was just this little, it was not doing well at that time. And, Northern Exposure, have you watched that TV show because it was filmed there?
I haven't watched it, but I heard about it.
Okay. So that at the time that show was being filmed there is kind of when Roslyn, probably the last time I'd been in town. No, I've been there since then. But the point is pre-Northern Exposure, Roslyn wasn't exactly an adventuresome place for food. If you went to was it the Brick Tavern that's in town there?
Oh my gosh.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, the Brick, if you were going to be adventuresome and have a beer there, it would be, PBR. I kid, but it's not someplace you think of as a culinary destination.
Yes.
And you're trying Cuban coffee. You've got Filipino desserts, macarons. How was this? How much education of the locals have you had to do?
Oh, a lot. And and I still do. Even, people from Seattle will come and, they want to try and stuff. And I think that's the point, right? I knew that we were going to answer a lot of questions, and I don't care how many times I have to repeat it. Because I want people to know. And the reason why I don't mind educating them is because I grew up in Miami. Like, we ate Colombian food, we ate Cuban food, and I know all these different kinds of foods. Even in the Bay Area, same thing. Korean, Indian, Vietnamese, Japanese, Indonesian and stuff. And so I think that is also when people come by the trailer and they're asking these questions, and we don't mind answering the questions. It's fun educating people, introducing them to something that they haven't seen before, maybe, or maybe they saw it on a TikTok or something like that. So yeah.
No, and I think it's great. I mean, but it's not just. I'm kidding, but it's not Folgers coffee. It's not a old fashioned donut.
Yes,
it's a little bit different than that. And if I'm offending anybody that lives in Roslyn, I apologize. I'm kind of kidding, folks. Don't take me too seriously. You're located at 118 West Pennsylvania Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
What's that next to?
It is next to, so we have Roslyn Soap Company. She is a small business, and she's the one that actually helped me start my business. She makes like handmade soaps, bath bombs, bath salts. The other day she gave me Mother's Balm for my tattoos. She's awesome, and we actually work really well together in terms of like, hey, like you should go to her soap shop or you should go to her coffee trailer. The other two stores next to me, there's one called 10,000 Villages, and I think they're items that people from other countries make. I think they have one in Seattle, but she's there next to me, and right next to them is Sicily's, the original. Have you watched the show? And I'm pretty sure that's from the show, and he kept it the way it was.
Yes,
the blue building.
yes, the blue building. Yes, okay.
Yes, so we have that, and those are kind of what's next to me, and the post office, of course. So
and the post office, okay. Let's go back. Let's talk macarons. I didn't realize they were gluten-free. That's kind of cool.
yeah.
Is there a flavor difference when they're depending on the color?
No.
Or is it okay?
Yeah.
So are the orange ones going to taste the same as the yellow ones? I'm looking at a photo here where I see kind of a pastel green, yellow, orange, lavender, and a couple more oranges. So
Yeah, so I always tell a lot of my wedding clients, I'm like, you can have whatever flavor you want in any color. So macarons, their shell is, they're all the same: almond flour, powdered sugar, and egg whites. And then we just put food dye. And then it's the flavor in the middle is what the flavor comes out to, which is awesome. So you don't have to like add a flavor to the shell, which you probably could have even tasted. So for example, if someone had a wedding and they're like, oh my God, like my colors are navy blue and white, but I want lemon. So we could put like a lemon filling in this old navy blue macaron. And that's so nice that macarons are so versatile like that. So yeah.
what's your favorite?
I have so many, and I keep saying I have so many. But actually, we make this very unique one that my husband loves, and everybody loves them. Last night we had a wine pairing in Ellensburg, and one of the flavors, which is my favorite, is honey goat cheese fig. And and it's very good if you like goat cheese in there.
I do.
Okay,
I do.
good.
I'm thinking about it though in a cookie, if you will. That's where I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
Okay.
We mix our buttercream with honey, and then we also mix it with the goat cheese in there. And then we fill the macaron, then we add a dollop of fig jam. And it's very good. A lot of people love it. People order it all the time, so I usually have it every week. And it's so funny because people either really love goat cheese or they just do not like goat cheese at all.
I like goat cheese.
And so this one is very good. That's one of my favorites. So I love that one.
Let me ask you this question: when you were testing recipes, like ideas, putting things together, like honey, goat cheese, fig, did anything sound good in theory, and then this just didn't work?
Yeah, there was one I did, and my husband just always has to remind me. So one time I did an everything bagel one.
everything bagel macaron.
Yeah. And so I would put, on the shell, I'd put the everything bagel seasoning, and then I'd put like this cream cheese filling in it with everything bagel. And my husband goes, remember when that didn't sell that well? And I was like, yes, I remember.
Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah.
So the everything bagel one was not up to standards. Okay. What is your best-selling macaron? What's the one that, what do people gravitate towards?
So we have about probably 6 flavors that people I always have at the market, and our Ellensburg market's next week, so we'll have these next week. A lot of people get s'mores, so we put chocolate ganache in there with like a homemade marshmallow fluff, and we toast it. That's a good one. Creme brulee, we put like a filling in there, and on top we put sugar and we torch it. So like both of them have this like toasted taste.
I'm raising my hand to interrupt you.
Oh, no, it's
no
okay.
one can see this, but I'm raising my hand. You're torching individual. How much labor is going into one of these little things?
There is a lot of labor and love into them.
You got to understand that I'm sitting here going, I'm thinking you're holding a little like food torch.
Yeah.
And,
it's not that hard. It's really not that bad. Like, especially when like you have so much muscle memory, it just like it's so mindless.
Okay.
And actually, we have a huge torch because we torch so many.
Not at one. I mean, are you torching more than one at a time?
Yeah. We're just like brr, brr, like a big line. So those are like one of the top ones that a lot of people get. So s'mores, creme brulee, honey lavender. I hate honey lavender because I don't like the taste of it, but for some reason everyone loves lavender.
Yeah, honey lavender is a pretty popular combo in a lot of things. Okay.
That one I'm trying to think. We do a lemon one. A lot of people like lemon. And strawberry cheesecake, because I love anything that's cheesecake. So we just put like a cheesecake filling with a dollop of strawberry jam, and it tastes so good. Okay. Yeah.
Are you still doing? I saw here. Well, before I go there, why I look it up again? How did you come up with the name Lemon Thyme?
Oh my god. Well, it was more like I need to make up a name, and I have no idea what to make up. So lemons make me very happy. Like, I don't know why. The color makes me happy. The smell, anything citrus. And to be honest, I don't know why I named it Lemon Thyme Macarons. I just thought it would be a unique name because I didn't want to have the same name as everyone else. So it kind of just worked out, but mostly because lemons make me happy and I couldn't find another name.
Isn't that fun? It's your company. You can call it what you want.
Yeah.
Everyone asks me because the name of our company is called T212 Media, and everyone's like, what does that mean? And there's a meaning to me in the background, and I explain it to people, and they're like, I don't get it, and then you don't have to. It's for me.
Yeah.
So I'm looking, and this post is back from 2018. So this is almost 4 years ago.
Yeah.
The charcoal.
Oh my god. Yeah. I do a lot of custom orders. So that specific order I remember because she wanted me to put charcoal powder in there, and then I put some charcoal stuff in the buttercream or whatever. There was a new restaurant opening up in town called the Coal Chute in Roslyn, which is just down the street, and she just opened. And so one of my clients was like, I really want to make macarons for her. And, what awesome way it would be, like, because their name is the Coal Chute, to make, like, charcoal macarons. And so that's pretty much what I did. And so I thought that was a really fun project to do.
How were they received? Because they're a little weird looking. I mean, they're cool, but they
are weird.
But, but somebody might go, ooh. But I think in this photograph, they're very cool.
Yeah.
How were they received?
They were received well. I mean, I think usually what I do is so when I make macarons for clients, I just give it to them, and then I never hear any feedback after that, which it could be a good or bad thing. But I'm pretty sure they enjoyed it.
Okay. So you've mentioned the Ellensburg Farmers Market a couple times. You've mentioned the Roslyn Farmers Market.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do any other farmers markets?
We did in 2020. We did Snohomish for a while, and that's, if anyone doesn't know the distance, Roslyn to Snohomish is like an hour and 45 minutes, which I drove.
You must drive really fast.
Yeah,
just putting that out there.
I was doing that because Roslyn Market was closed for 2020, and the Roslyn Market closed for 2 years. So. And a lot of my sales at the time was based off these markets. And so we did that. I had to stop doing that because we have the trailer, but it was if anybody goes to the Snohomish Market, it's a great market, and whoever wants to be a vendor, the market manager is highly organized and very good. So I really enjoyed going there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where else can people find your macarons?
Well, first they could find it at our trailer, which is in Roslyn. And then they could also find the macarons. We just started wholesaling to a coffee company in Ellensburg called 1883 Coffee Company. She's really one of my good friends, and she has it's almost like a drive-through coffee shop.
Mm-hmm.
And so she'll sell macarons and stuff like that in Ellensburg. And then they can also find it at our Ellensburg Farmers Market on Saturdays. Usually the market goes from May through October.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're not baking, and when you're making purple yam jam and things like that, what do you like to do what have you found that's fun for you in Roslyn, in the area in general? What do you like to do?
So in Roslyn, my husband and I go on a lot of walks. We do like walking. And it's so funny because when I tell people like they should go to the Roslyn Cemetery, they look at me weird. I'm like, but I promise, it's amazing. It's historic. From what I know is that the Roslyn, like back then, they did the Roslyn Cemetery they buried everyone by race because of the language barriers and everything. It's very quiet and serene. So I like to walk a lot, especially on a really good day, which today is a really good day. In Roslyn, that's pretty much what I do. Where I just eat at our local spots.
So let's say I'm coming up to Roslyn. I'm going to grab lunch. Where should I grab lunch in Roslyn?
There's so many recommendations I have. So let's see. Where do I always go? Okay, so there is the Roslyn Cafe, which they just switched new owners a couple of years ago, and they are so solid, super good. They have like house-made fries, house-made French fry sauce. Their burgers are amazing. I usually get their French fries and their lamb burger. They always have like lots of specials there. So I go there. The second place I go to is the Roslyn Mexican Grill, which it's not just like it's not that taqueria is bad, but it's not like a taqueria food where it's just like, small tacos. It's like their theme is like Aztec food.
Okay.
So they have really good Mexican food. They have like ahi tuna. They usually have like mole. Do you know what mole is?
No, I do not.
It's like a dark sauce. It's a dark sweet sauce.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, they have like mole and and so those are the two places I just love going to, and I tell people like you should go here if you like are really hungry, and their portion sizes too are like the best. So
okay.
Yeah.
What if I go to Cle Elum? What are you recommending in Cle Elum?
Oh my gosh, we just went to like good restaurant there the other day. Well, whenever I tell people when they go to Cle Elum, I tell them to go obviously to the Cle Elum Bakery. And I know it's not a restaurant, but it's so good. And I believe they've been baking the donuts since like the 1900s or something, and or for a long time. I'm so sorry if I got those dates wrong, but I know they've been baking for a long time, and it's really good. And across from there is Owen's Meats, which I think most people know what it is. And I always get their bacon and they slice it for me, and it's It's like a wonderful meat market. In terms of like a restaurant, me and my husband, there's a new owners, and it's called the Caboose. And they, before it was older, and when I went there I was like, me. Like, but then since they kind of revamped it and redid it, my husband and I went there the other day. We got a burger and onion rings, and the burger was so good, it was toasted and the burger was juicy, and so I'm pretty impressed by their food.
Okay.
And yeah, so Cle Elum, I feel like Cle Elum is growing in so many ways, and they're having new restaurants and shops pop up.
Well, there's that new high-end teriyaki place going in on the roof.
Yes, I just got some takeout there the other day.
Oh, you did? So it's open?
It's open, I think, for takeout.
And how was it?
It was good. It wasn't like your typical, because I believe that the chef that owns it is Japanese.
Yes, and
yeah, and it wasn't like your typical, like, you go to your teriyaki place and like the teriyaki sauce is like super thick. I loved the sauce. I loved that they had this like cucumber like salad, which was really good. Just reminded me of like an Asian cucumber salad. And so I believe it was really good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, there's been a lot of hype about that. That restaurant, and with the rooftop setting it's going to do. And have you been to Orchard?
It's so funny. I only went to Orchard once, and that was when they first opened. Okay. But I told my husband, I was like, we should totally go back and try it. Like, just because. Yeah.
I've not tried that one. I have a good friend of mine lives in Cle Elum, and they're like, we should go there. I'm like, okay. That's not a place I've hit.
Yeah.
So what didn't I ask you that I should have? We've talked about macarons. We've talked about coffee. So, we've talked food and coffee, so I'm good. But what didn't I ask you that I should have?
I'm trying to think. I mean, can't think of any.
I know what I need to ask you. So what's next? What's on the horizon? What are you do you got anything in the works that you can talk about?
I don't necessarily have anything in the works right now. I think I mostly just have so in terms of like usually every season we create like a new menu, in the theme of summer. So we're probably gonna have like more like summer themed drinks, like honey lavender, or not honey lavender, like lavender lemonade and stuff. And so the good thing about our lemonades is that they're like freshly squeezed, so we have like a machine that squeezes them. It's just because I'm obsessed with two things: lemonade and hot chocolate. And I'm very passionate about it, just because I want it to be good. And so that's kind of like in the works right now, just creating our summer menu and figuring out like good flavors in par with the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now back to my question of what didn't I ask you?
Oh, I know. How we make our hot chocolates, because that's something I should talk about.
Let's do.
Yeah, so our hot chocolate is a house-made chocolate sauce. So we have this secret recipe, and I think it's just because I didn't want to go to the route of, which isn't bad, the route of, Ghirardelli's, and you just like pump it and all that stuff. But including with our hot chocolate, it's a very fancy hot chocolate, because not only is the hot chocolate sauce house made, but we also buy homemade marshmallows from a company called XO Marshmallow. So we put those marshmallows on top and we toast them with with the torch. So it's like this like magical goodness of hot chocolate. And so yeah, that's that I feel like that makes us a little bit more distinct. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, no. I mean, so you're obviously, putting care and effort into everything you're providing to the public.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what hours is the trailer open?
Usually we open Wednesday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Okay.
In the summer, we're probably gonna, which I'm still working out, because it always depends on, the slow times and stuff. We're probably gonna open later, just because it's summer. So yeah, but right now it's just Wednesday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Okay. My last question to you is, share with our audience a secret about Roslyn that they won't know.
Sorry, I have to think about it.
It's okay. I just sprung that on you. It's completely okay.
Yeah. I know it. I know. I guess I know it's so silly, but I guess it's not really a secret though. But the community. That's the only thing I can think of. How people. How Roslyn is because of everyone in our community. In terms of helping it, and obviously you don't see that like in cities and stuff, but I guess that's like the secret. So
the community.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time to sit down and chat with me today, and being patient with our technical difficulties to get started. We got through it. Nobody needs to know, but we got through it. So I'm looking forward to getting up to Roslyn one of these afternoons and saying hello in person, and Cuban coffee. Yeah, I'm gonna be trying some of that.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks.
Join us next time for another episode of the Exploring Washington State podcast.